Enterprise Stories is the weekly radio program that shares the experiences of successful Nigerian entrepreneurs and provides expert analysis of their success factors. Enterprise Stories, business stories of success.
Welcome, listeners, to the Enterprise Stories for today. My name is Olawale Anifowose, and I'm your host for the program. We have an interesting lineup of program for you today. To start the program, we have in our teaching segment our faculty that will be taking us through revisiting the strategy. And immediately after that, we would have our story of the day from an entrepreneur in the food sector. But before we start, let's take a quick message from our sponsors.
Let's talk about moving forward. You need a brand new car or a home loan so you can live in your own house, or perhaps a credit card to shop around the world. You've also been thinking about getting finance for your trade. Well, at Stanbic IBTC Bank, we've got all the products and services you need so you can move from where you are to where you want to be. Stanbic IBTC Bank, a member of Standard Bank Group, moving forward.
Welcome, listeners, to the first segment of today. Today's teaching segment will be looking at revisiting the strategy, and we have our faculty in the house, Mr. Bayo Rotimi, and he will be taking us today.
Thank you very much, Wale. I think today's topic is particularly relevant, especially for those who have been in business for upwards of 10 years. It is important that after running a business for a while, most businesses and promoters of businesses should actually go back and revisit the strategy. They need to be able to determine, has this strategy that we set up for ourselves, have we been able to deliver on the targets and the objectives that the business has? I think it is always important for businesses to redefine themselves, especially given the inconsistencies and the volatility in the operating environment. Sometimes flexibility might be the key to the longevity of a business. The operating environment keeps changing, and if you are rigid and not able to adapt to the realities of your day and your time, certain businesses may run into trouble. So I think it is critical for every entrepreneur on a periodic and regular basis. I would say certainly have an outlook of a minimum of 5 years. At the end of 5 years, give yourself, have a scorecard, see how well you have performed, see whether the strategy needs to be tweaked, see whether the operating environment has changed to force you to change your business model. I think it is critical because everybody that starts a business has to look long term. We must be looking to create institutions, not just companies that are fleeting and are here today and gone tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi, for the teaching segment of today. We'll be right back for the story of today's segment.
Let's talk about moving forward. You need a brand new car or a home loan so you can live in your own house, or perhaps a credit card to shop around the world. You've also been thinking about getting finance for your trade. Well, at Stanbic IBTC Bank, we've got all the products and services you need so you can move from where you are to where you want to be. Stanbic IBTC Bank, a member of Standard Bank Group, moving forward.
Welcome, listeners, to the story of the day segment. And with us in the studio today is Mrs. Morenike Okupe, the CEO of Malas Foods. Mrs. Morenike, welcome to the studio today.
Thank you
and welcome
much.
to Enterprise Stories.
Thank you.
Mrs. Okupe is going to be sharing our story with us today. So, where do we start from? How did Malas Food? I have tasted your food, and I mean, everyone says the same thing. It's fantastic. I've called you a few times. You're always busy. Tell us, how did it all start? Because I'm sure it wasn't always like this.
Yes, it wasn't. It was a humble beginning, very humble. Started off with 25,000 in 1992 with so much confidence and determination, just wanted to make it. Catering out of not getting a job, expecting a job from a bank, and it didn't come through. And a friend of mine just walked in and said, Morenike, you know, my younger brother is going to get married and I'm looking for a caterer. And I said, okay, let's go. And we got to the road and it was like, where are we going? Is it not just to cook and serve this food? Don't worry, my mother has some cooking pots. I'll get them over. We'll cook the food and serve them at the party. And we did that. And it was like, wow, can this be a business? And that was at the point in Nigeria where the catering business was beginning to grow, you know. There was a need in that market at that time. And we fitted into it. Tried to fit into that market very slow. It was slow though. It was very slow because it was like people didn't trust this young girl coming up to cook food. And well, what does she know how to cook? But with so much persistent determination, a lot of work.
Yeah, I know that the catering business can be very challenging.
Very, very challenging.
You know, and up until the time when you came to do the EDC program, the SEM program, what were those kind of challenges you were facing?
Oh, well, number one, structure. Then the financial aspect, not managing your money well, still looking at the business like it's just from my room. You cook and you serve, you do profit and you do loss, that kind of a thing. But those were the kind of challenges we had, you know. We're not looking at the business properly, we're not structuring it properly. And, you know, we didn't organize it well, we didn't present it well. Basically.
Okay, how easy was it for you to get the startup, the 25,000 naira that you started?
Wow, it wasn't easy. It was a loan from a family friend of ours.
Okay.
And it was like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to buy plates, I want to buy cups, and I want to buy this and that. I said, okay, I will loan you 25,000 naira. So
25,000 naira in
1993.
In 93. That,
yes.
I mean, how much is that? That's about.
I don't know which rate you want to use, but I'm sure it's a lot of money now.
Okay. So, I mean, how exactly has the business evolved from 93 till now in terms of the number of staff you have and how you've been able to manage, you know, the people that work with you? Because I know that in a day you have 5 to 10 jobs in different places. How have you been able to manage that aspect of the business?
Well, I would say that after coming to the program we had here in UDC, it took another turn. We could organize better. We could, you know, manage the finances better. We're getting more people to do the work instead of only myself, limiting all the things to myself, you know, just myself and a few people that were around. But we opened up, you know, because it was like, yes, this business has gone beyond this person. It has gone beyond this person. So we had a broader look at the business. So we could, you know, strategize to get more businesses, strategize to do the logistics, and we were not failing, to the glory of God.
How many staff did you have that time?
Well, at that time before we came here, it was like 6, 7.
Wow. How many staff do you have now?
We have 25 now.
25 staff.
Yeah.
Wow. And you are able to now structure them.
Yes, we now have sections. It's like the kitchen manager is there, the logistics manager is there, the floor manager is there, the catering manager, the PA that attends to the customers are there, you know.
Have you ever had any cost to go to the financial institutions for a loan or anything like that in expanding? I mean, before we started this recording, you were talking about your expansion plans.
Yes.
And you moving to a new building. So have you had any reason to go to the bank?
Yes.
Okay. And how was that experience?
Yes, after coming for SEM, we had better structures and we had better presentation to put to the banks. So it wasn't very difficult trying to get a facility from them to actually purchase the vehicle or the building. It was much easier.
So you own your own building now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so tell us, at what point in this business did you know this is it? I am in this to stay. What was that one thing that happened that made you realize that, I mean, I'm definitely staying here?
It was in 1993, and that was my first big job. I had a catering contract to cater for like 1,000 people over a weekend, and it was like, wow, what am I going to do? But we did it, and the client was very happy, and it was just like the bouncing, you know, bed for us from there.
That's when the cash started rolling in. Okay, before we go, I want you to just share with us. The catering market, the industry is so big. Every other person is into catering. How do you stand yourself out? What's we're not asking for your secret now, but what is it that makes Malas different?
Like I always tell people, catering business is like tailoring business. You have designers, you have the local tailors, you have somebody that can sew you a buba and iro for 300 naira. You have somebody that can sew you a buba and iro for 1,500, 2,000. It's just still people patronizing. It's the value that they're getting from those particular vendors that is keeping them to your client. For Malas Foods, I think basically is the personal touch that we put into every business, every catering opportunities that we have, because it's the main advert for us. So it's like the personal touch that we put into delighting that customer, delighting that guest, because that is how the referrals will come. And obviously consistently managing the taste and the quality of food that we bring out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go, a word for the young entrepreneurs that are thinking of catering business. What would you say to them?
Well, first and foremost, get something clear. Is that there's no amount of money that it can pay you that will be commensurate to the pressure, to the efforts that you're putting into catering business. So it has to be your passion that is going to make it for you in that business and make you to continue in that business. One, you must have the passion for that business, whichever business. Unfortunately, it's catering that we're talking about here. The passion is the only thing that can keep you going, because there are times that the challenges are so overwhelming, but you keep looking at what keeps you on, and you see that it's the passion. It's not just the money that you're making, but the passion keeps you.
Wow, so, this is good. I can see the passion from burning in you as you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the story of the day segment. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the analysis.
Let's talk about moving forward. You need a brand new car or a home loan so you can live in your own house, or perhaps a credit card to shop around the world. You've also been thinking about getting finance for your trade. Well, at Stanbic IBTC Bank, we've got all the products and services you need so you can move from where you are to where you want to be. Stanbic IBTC Bank, a member of Standard Bank Group, moving forward.
We are back. Welcome to the expert analysis segment. And our expert today is Mr. Bayo Rotimi, and he's going to be looking at the story of the day and telling us those critical decisions and things that we can take home. Mr. Bayo Rotimi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed. I listened to our guest of the week, and I was quite impressed by her business. First and foremost, is a business that is practically 20 years old, which is a rarity in this market, especially for small businesses. So the fact that she's still around into her 20th year means that she's doing a number of things right. I was particularly impressed by the structure that she has in her business. She decided essentially to make sure that the business is divided along or structured along functional lines. So she talked about somebody in charge of the kitchen, somebody in charge of marketing, somebody in charge of logistics. I think what that typifies is a business that has an operating structure. And I believe that for any business to grow inside of this environment with all its uncertainties, there must be a great degree of structure. I was particularly impressed also that she was able to access financing without too much difficulty. Again, that was driven by the structure she was able to put in place, because funding is difficult to come by nowadays, but at the same time, the little funding that is available is looking for viable outlets. So businesses, and this is something to encourage other entrepreneurs, you have to first and foremost focus on your structure, build an institution, and once you have an institution and systems and processes in place, it becomes a lot easier to be able to attract financing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi. We've come to the end of the Enterprise Stories for today. We hope you enjoyed listening to us. Please stay tuned for another exciting episode of the Enterprise Stories. Join EDC as we host the 2012 Global Entrepreneurship Week in Nigeria from the 12th to the 18th of November. Log on to ng.unleashingideas.org to be part of the global movement to celebrate creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. GW national partners are Stanbic IBTC and Etisalat Nigeria. Unleash your ideas. Enterprise Stories is brought to you by Enterprise Development Center of the Pan-African University. For questions and comments, please email edc@pau.edu.ng or log on to Enterprise Stories on nigeria.sme2k.org for useful resources and articles to help grow your business.